I had a conversation with a mate. It was January 23rd, 2022. And the conversation with a mate was evolving around mental health. And he said, you need to get to the gym. That's what's helped him. And I said, yeah, I'm going to go. I'll go tomorrow. And the three words that triggered something in my brain was tomorrow never comes.
Welcome to the Vet Rise Podcast. I'm your host, Juan Perez. My goal is to make success after service accessible to every veteran in society. I believe in the power of leveraging your service, not as a label that defines you, but as a launching pad for your next chapter. What we have been doing has not been working, and it's on us to start changing the culture. Enjoy the episode, and thank you for your time. What is going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us again. We have a special guest today. I am pumped up. I've been looking forward to this all week, and we're finally recording it. And I'm going to be very honest with you guys. We recorded this podcast about 2 weeks ago, but we knew that it wasn't where we wanted it to be. And we are both very high performers. And I'm going to introduce you guys to Adam. I don't want to steal his thunder, but I also want to kind of present him a little bit because I'm fucking pumped up today. And we're in studio. We just spent the past 20 minutes setting up the video, the audio, everything perfectly. Because quality does fucking matter, right? Quality does matter. And when you spend time on the front preparing, you can execute much better. But that doesn't mean spend forever planning. Like there's the planning trap where you are always planning. And I'm prefacing this conversation today with all of this because Adam is the fucking king of execution, and he prepared just enough mentally to put himself where he needed to be. So again, do not trap yourself in the planning. Just fucking execute. Without further ado, Adam, take it away, man. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's see where this conversation goes, brother.
Man, I appreciate the invite to your podcast, brother. I've been following you for a long time, and so much love and respect for you. So I'm Adam. I've come from Sydney, Australia, and a little bit about my journey is that in the beginning of 2022, that's when my journey really started. I'd been suffering from severe anxiety and depression for a long time, over 10 years. I mean, to the point where I'd be almost vomiting every single morning. I just couldn't process. I couldn't deal with what was coming that day. I was about 100 kilos, which is about 220 pounds. I was slowly dying inside. And what really kicked off my journey was speaking to a mate. I had a gym membership for probably 6 weeks, and I was too embarrassed to go. I just couldn't get there. What my thoughts were inside that was everyone was going to laugh at me. So I had a conversation with a mate. It was January 23rd, 2022. And the conversation with a mate was evolving around mental health. And he said, you need to get to the gym. That's what's helped him. And I said, yeah, I'm going to go. I'll go tomorrow. And the three words that triggered something in my brain was tomorrow never comes. And for some reason on that day, at that particular time, that just hit a nerve. I remember lacing up my shoes, just driving straight to the gym, and then just started working out. And I remember just going to someone there and just asking for advice, and believe it or not, they gave really good advice and helped me out. And from that time on, the rest is history, and that's where Zero2Animal was created. That's my brand of coaching that I'm bringing back to the world. That's underway. And yeah, the rest is history. From that point in time, I kept myself accountable every day. I ran I stuck to a program.
Yeah.
And just got it. Like, yeah, that's probably how it all formed. And from there on, every challenge, every goal, every target that I hit, Zero2Animal, that's what I created in my head. It was like a alter ego. I felt a zero at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then every challenge, every 75 hard completed, I'm like, holy fuck, I can do this, man. There's something inside that it just kept firing me up. And that's where I adopted an animal mindset. That's every challenge, every target, that's Zero2Animal. Like, I'm not suggesting I'm an animal in any way, but that's the alter ego. That's the concept I formed.
I'm gonna jump in real quick,
Does that
man,
make
because
sense?
I wanna kind of give my opinion on something, and then I want to get your feedback on it, right? So one thing that I'm very much opinionated about a lot of stuff, as everybody knows, especially if you've been listening to the podcast for a bit. I don't believe that 75 hard is for everybody, because you need to really be in that mindset that Adam had of the Zero2Animal mindset. And if you don't have it, you're not going to complete it. And then when you fail, whether it's on day 7 or day 20, then you feel like you failed. But if you have the mentality that Adam had of understanding what his friend said to him, what was it? That there is no, what was it again? Repeat it.
Tomorrow never comes.
I freaking love that. Then you understand that today is all you have. And the reason why I don't specifically encourage people to do 75 hard is because most of the time, not everybody, people are in such a bad place mentally and physically, and they think that what they need is to go all in, and they do, but they think that doing it means doing something like the 75 hard, or doing something that is almost very impossible for their body to physically do, or even for them mentally to do, because they're not even ready for that. And I think that people need to start by changing their mindset first, which is exactly what you mentioned, Adam, where you went from the Zero2Animal mindset, the alter ego, the shift. And I freaking love that, because that shift, that mentality had to happen, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong here, before you could physically do the 75 hard and actually commit to doing it, because you had that alter ego, that mindset of like, I'm going to be this freaking beast, this animal, this savage. And I mean, that's the name of my squad in my coaching program. So we have the Vet Rise Academy, and inside the academy, we have our people, and we call it the Savage Squad, right? So
Yeah.
I love the mentality of like going all in and being a beast about it. But I do think that you have to mentally understand that it's going to take, like, for example, and I'll turn it over to you here in a second. But for example, if you want to do the 75 hard, it's not just about like doing the 75 hard. It's, you better fucking put it in your calendar. You better make sure that you have that gallon of water with you and you fucking see it and you drink it. You better make sure that the weather doesn't stop you or slow you down. You better make sure you actually read the book by having a prompt and carrying it with you. You better make sure that you completely leave out people in your life that are going to just bring you down. And all your bad habits, they're only going to die if you replace them with something positive. That's in my mind.
Amen.
The purpose behind 75 hard is replacing all the negative bullshit that you do to your body, all the freaking fast food and all the freaking staying up late and the, drinking beer and eating Oreos and chocolate ice cream and all that fucking crap, replacing it with something positive. And I think that it only works if you, and I'm gonna let you take over here, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, but I think it only works. You can only do it if you truly fucking understand why you're doing it, the mindset, right? What are your thoughts on that, Adam?
Man, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, so many times I'd failed, and I never followed through. But what actually helped me, there's two key components that actually helped me execute and, Yeah, execute. So one thing was the book that you read that kicked it off was David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. The actual introduction to the book actually fired me up. The second thing was accountability. I actually declared it. I said it out loud on social media, and I posted a freaking picture of myself every single day. The first picture was me in my absolute rawest state, the lowest that I've ever seen myself. And by declaring, and then every single day, you actually see the results after 2 weeks. If you look at your body, you can actually see the results, and then that inspires other people. Then you're getting feedback from people all around the world backing you in your corner, and then that fires you up even more. That actually helps you stay accountable. That helped me. The hardest thing to do, but putting yourself out there.
And what do you think it is about putting yourself out there? Like, why do you think it works for some people and for some people it doesn't? Like, what do you think? Let me be more clear with my question. What did it do for you when you put it onto the world that you're going to do this instead of just doing it inside? Because some people are going to say, oh, well, you're showboating or you're just asking for attention, right? What is your response to that?
Bullshit. Like for me, this was how I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to for the world to see. This is how I kept myself accountable. I didn't want to start something and then not finish it. And then what I'd found is the support all around the world, like people getting in my inbox saying, man, I'm so proud of you and that is so good. And suddenly I felt the fire that I'd never had before. And that just helped, that helps me stay accountable every single day at 10 p.m. after I'd finished reading. I would take my photo and then put it on my stories with, day,
you would
day
post
10
the photo.
complete. Oh yeah. For 75 days, I've got every single photo there and I posted the photo. I ran it on my stories. I had the first photo of me standing on the scales at my absolute worst, I might tell you. Yeah. So that's what
a lot of
helped me.
people won't do that, right?
No.
All right. So you started, and I do want to spend some time on this because I feel like my opinion is that most people can't do it. And when I say that, it should piss you off, not you specifically, but it should piss whoever's listening off, and it should fire you up. Because if I say that most people can't do it, then you need to be different. You need to be a freaking savage, and you need to turn your mind into this machine of well, I'm not most people. If you want to be rare, you have to do rare shit. And I think that the fact that when you posted online and you held yourself accountable, I think that it also inspired a lot of people. And I'm sure that, dude, there's people that I'm sure, which I'm sure you've heard a lot because you have a large following, that they tell you that your shit fires them up. And I talked about this the first time we recorded this, and I want to reintroduce this story because my introduction to you, I don't know how, but the algorithm just knew that I needed to get a little piece of Adam, and it fucking showed me this video of you. It was CCTV. It was like surveillance, like a security footage. It was be on the lookout for this man, and it shows you going into the gym and freaking knocking it out, and the gym is empty. And I'm like, who the fuck is this crazy guy? I could see that you were going to the gym when nobody else was there, nobody else was doing shit, and I kept seeing it, and I kept seeing you fucking showing up and you fucking being different. And dude, I admire the hell out of you. Because when I started making content, for me, the talking videos were very hard. And obviously, right now, I don't have an issue with that anymore, right? But it was very much finding my voice. And I feel like you also threw yourself into it and found your voice, and you're willing to speak on stuff. You're willing to put yourself out there, man. And I admire the hell out of you for that. So Yeah, talk to us about whatever you want to talk about, man. I kind of open the floor for you, all you, my man.
Man, I appreciate that, brother. So that video we're referring to, that was midnight, just after a few minutes after midnight, January 2023, when I was going for 75 hard for the second round, and I had set an intention. I set an intention that midnight, bang, I'd get to go and bang my first workout out, and obviously the staff reviewed the video footage the next day, and they turned it into a TikTok, posted it, and they gave me a prize pack for it, which was pretty cool. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's like life is all about stepping out of your comfort zone, growing, and that's like when I first started my journey. I only had social media 2 weeks prior. I sort of like a bull coming straight out of the cage. I just fucking went for it because that's what I needed in my life. And I actually, on the same token, connect with all your material because you spoke to me and that's what I love. You're a straight shooter. You add value to not only the veterans, but to the world. You're value to humanity. And that's what I love about you. And you speak to me every day. And when people say that your material, your stories getting up at 3:30 a.m. and going to the gym, that fires them up for the day, I get a lot of value out of you and multiple people out there. And that's what it's about. If you operate at a higher frequency, they're the things that come into your world. Like when you're on a low frequency, like the lowest frequency is shame and guilt. That's just above death. So when you operate on that frequency, that's what's going to come into your world.
Shame and guilt is just above death. Wow. I fucking love that. I want to say thank you for your kind words, man. Honestly, it's what I'm aiming for. It's what I'm aiming for. Yeah. And if I will say that the one thing that's helped me, the one thing that's really helped me put myself out there and make content is realizing that this is hard to put to words, right? All right. So it's not that I don't care about people's opinions. It's just that I have to value the opinions of the people that are actually listening and that this is changing their lives. And I post stories here and there of what people send me and the messages that people send me. And it's not to make myself feel better. It's just that you have to prop up, in my opinion, you have to put the stuff that actually matters at a higher level of importance than the negative comments. And I've made videos about both. I post stuff online and there's veterans that are, just shit talking because they're stuck in their mindset. They're never going to change. I can't help them. They don't want help. They want to feel angry. They want to feel miserable. They feel that feeling is making them have some sort of purpose in life. They think that they can do something by being angry and miserable, and they don't realize that they're actually fucking hurting themselves and everybody else around them and the veteran community. And unfortunately, I can't spend any time on that. Right? Because if I do, I'm not giving value to the people that actually want to receive the value. So I think a long time ago, not that long ago, I think 8 months ago, I made the decision that I'm not going to spend too much time reading comments, and I try and reply to the comments here and there, but it's a lot of fucking comments, and it's just me. I'm a one-man show. I have employees, I have a team, but they focus on other stuff, right? So it's you can apply that in real life, right? Which is what I'm trying to get to. Like in my life, I don't spend time listening or even asking or paying attention to the voices in my life that are trying to just bring me down, right? I need to focus my life on the things that actually matter. And like when you can do that, when you can realize like you need to speak your truth and your opinion matters, because the people that are going to be influenced by it, they may not always say thank you. They may not always feel inspired, but I fucking guarantee that there's hundreds, if not maybe even thousands of people out there who pick up their phone, they see one of your videos or one of my videos, and they just fucking say, you know what, I'm going to fucking do something today. And they go and they do a workout, or they put down that freaking third piece of pizza, or they decide that, you know what, I'm going to commit to maybe doing the 75 hard, and then they actually change their mindset and then they do it, right? Or reading a book. And they may not sit there and comment and reply, but like you just don't know what is actually going to happen, right? And I think that fucking matters, brother.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Like I hear on that, and absolutely, not everyone is going to respond to you. Not every but I can damn guarantee that you're changing lives out there. You've absolutely helped form and change someone's life in some particular way, hands down. Like that's a fucking guarantee, brother. And the negativity, you're always going to get that, and that means you're doing something right. Like, yeah, if you weren't
Yes.
getting negative attention, then you're fucking doing something wrong. Like, it's going to happen. I've done a charity raise to raise money for prostate cancer. You know,
Yeah.
I entwine that into my second David Goggins 4x4x48. And so this time, every leg, I was raising money. And I got someone absolutely, laughing, putting comments and stuff like that. You're just gonna get that sort of shit. And if you weren't getting negative feedback, it just means that the negative feedback means you're doing something right. You're doing it right, man.
I think that when people, and this applies to everybody, for all you guys listening out there, like if you're pissing people off, it means that you're doing something. Because if you're not doing anything, if you're living a fucking complacent life and you're just living life day to day, like people aren't going to say anything to you. People are going to just, think that you're part of the machine that is there with them, right? Like everybody's in this rat race. Everybody is living this life and they're all miserable and they all say like, oh, well, just another day, or you know how it is, or like, I think people like that are so fucking miserable. And by the way, again, if this pisses you off, fucking do something about it. But I think people are so miserable that they want to be surrounded by people that are miserable too. Otherwise, they start to feel like something's wrong with them. And you should feel like something's wrong with you if you're miserable. Like you fucking should. You should wake up and realize, like, I want more from life. Why am I not going out and getting it? But if you're surrounded with people that are very much like that, then it feels normal. It feels like, well, this is just the way life is, which is probably where that fucking comes from, right? Like, well, this is life. I don't believe that. I don't subscribe to that idea. I don't think that that's the way that life is, man. Like, what are your thoughts on that shit?
Man, 100%. Like, you need people in your foxhole, where you could come up with a fucking stupid idea, or like for me, I'm going to go run 100 Ks. I want the people in my life that are saying, go and do it. How are we going to do it? Or I'm there with you. Not the people that are like, oh, do you think you should? Or be careful. Like, I don't want anyone in my life that says, oh, fucking be careful, or watch for that, or like anything. Like, get the fuck out of my world. Like, yeah.
Why do you think they do it? Why do you think they do that? Tell you to be
Because
careful.
they don't want you to either excel, or it scares them. Like, you're growing as a human. You make them feel uncomfortable that you actually want something more, better for your life. You don't want to be fucking mediocre. Like you said, most people are just happy doing the same job, working the same hours, eating the same shit after work, meeting up at the pub on a Friday. Like, it's just a revolution.
Talk more about that. I want you to dive into that. I want to hear more.
Like for me, when I started working on myself, growing as a human, finding out like I've been held back, most people around me, like, and a lot of friends and family as well, some of them become like crabs, where one crab tries to come out of the bucket and the rest of the crabs try to pull them back down. And yeah, I just fucking can't stand that mentality. Like, I'm always gonna want to like grow. Like, I hit one target, I hit one goal. The next time it's gonna be bigger, better. in all areas of my life.
Mhm. All right, let's stop for a minute. This is the part of the episode where I ask you to do me a favor. But it's not a favor for me. It's a favor for your fellow brothers and sisters that served with you. If you know someone that has been struggling, if you know someone that has been going through it right now, and you know that they want better for their life, they just don't know how to do it, please share this episode with them. It might just be exactly what they need. That's it. That's my only ask. If you want to subscribe, I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Back to the episode. All right, Adam. Well, listen, man, I want to know more about you. I'm sure everybody's listening. I'm sure they love what you're saying, and I bet you they want to know more about you, brother. So why don't we talk a little bit about your past and your upbringing, and to just tell us more about that, my man.
Yeah, not a problem. So I had a really good childhood, in Sydney, and then moved down to the country, fairly stock standard. And probably when I was 18, there was a family tragedy, and that's when I started to dabble in drugs because I was a deep empath, and I started taking like speed, ecstasy, and that just helped me numb that pain. So I was probably using for about probably 5 years, and I always felt so guilty, like I have a really guilty conscience. And so in 2003, I put myself in Odyssey House. That's a long-term rehab facility. So you actually break through all your barriers, you work on yourself, and after about 6 months, you're in this collectively, like as you progress, you're in like levels, say 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I got to level 3, and it's like in life when you're in a group, when someone's not pulling their weight, you get punished as a collective. So we got punished. We got put in what was called limbo, and we were isolated. We weren't allowed to speak to each other. We were just doing chores, and me just being, I guess, I didn't see the fucking bigger picture there. I didn't see the lesson in that in itself. So I actually lamed. So I left in the middle of the night. I actually put all my bags in, put all my clothes in bags, put them in the dumpster, and waited till midnight, and then left. I didn't actually see the bigger picture. I was 23, and that was a lesson that I wasn't ready to deal with. So
if you could go back and look at yourself that day, what would you tell yourself to hopefully see the bigger picture? Or do you think that no matter what at that age, like you're just not going to see it, unfortunately?
I would tell myself that there's an intention behind that lesson. However, all those lessons I did learn, they all did link together, and the dots did join. So I guess that was just that was meant to be for me. I did learn valuable lessons. It did set standards for me, like valuable core standards. And so anyway, I left the rehab facility. I was still using on and off, but never regularly, not the way I was before. So things in my life did change, and I was on my way to getting better. And unfortunately, in 2006, my dad passed away in the middle of the night, and that hurt a lot. Like, I went to the hospital, And that was just unshakable, seeing your father in death state. Like that just indents you in a way that you couldn't imagine.
Mhm.
And, you know, like from that point is when a lot of shame and guilt started festering inside, because he hadn't seen me of who I am today, and that just kills. He never got a chance to see my children and be the father that I am, and the human that I am. And Mum passed away, unfortunately, 18 months later. She actually had breast cancer 18 years prior, and she was in remission, and she's in remission for 18 years. And Mum and Dad were so close. Like, there was a beautiful love there. They still held their hands every day. And after Dad passed away, I believe Mum's cancer came back just because of a broken heart. She actually couldn't survive without my dad. And so Mum's breast cancer came back quite aggressively within probably 6 months of Dad passing. And I thought I had more time with my mum. The doctors told us that we had maybe 6 to 12 months, and that fucking lasted less than 2 weeks, man. And again, the shame and guilt. I was at work one day, and the nurses are like, "You gotta fucking get here quick." And unfortunately, we didn't fucking get there in time. And again, that just, all this shame and guilt just festered for so long in my life and blocked me, because I wanted them to. I wish they could see me of who I am today. You know, they like didn't even get to witness my children, the birth of my firstborn, the rest of my children. However, there is one beautiful piece to the story, and it's spooky and uncanny, that the day my mum passed, I then said to my wife, who we're not together now, but I said to her, "Get off the pill. Let's have a child." You know, I was just... Anyway, my firstborn daughter, Ella, was actually born on my mum's birthday. Like, bang on. So
Wow.
I believe she was a gift, and my mum's traits and character and personality is born into her, but not only that, like tenfold. So
Yeah.
I do get to see my mum every day.
That's beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing that with us. I appreciate it. I know it's not easy to talk about that. And
Yeah.
I think about that kind of stuff a lot too. And I wonder if what your friend said to you that day, tomorrow never comes, right? If we can apply it to the same thing of being able to do things now to share it with the people that are here with us, because we're all going to die. We're all human. We all have an expiration date. And number one, I think that the longer we actually spend time on taking care of ourselves, the further and further we can push that expiration date, right? But again, life happens, accidents happen, and you can't be angry about it. You can't reason it. You don't have to make sense of everything. But I think that living in the now and realizing that doing things now so you can share it with the people that are here with you, I think that matters a lot. So
Couldn't agree more.
thank you for sharing that, man. And I think that that's beautiful that your daughter was born on your mom's birthday.
Yeah. So yeah, a gift. And
Yeah, that is a gift.
Yeah, and I've like touching back on living for the now.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a friend, Sarah, and she's got a quote that goes like, if you have a gift and you don't share it, then you don't deserve to have it.
Mm. Yeah, you're squandering it. And I don't think that we realize how many gifts we have and the power of them sometimes, because we don't exercise them, we don't use them, right?
Yeah.
I think I'll put it to you this way. I heard this recently. I was at a coaching seminar in Canada, which we haven't had a chance to catch up on yet. But one of the things that I heard there was that your story is someone else's survival guide. That the things that you've been through, the things that you were able to honestly survive through and create something amazing from it, is going to help someone else.
Yeah.
And it is a gift, man. It is a freaking gift, because at the end of the day, man, we live in this world where social media, everything that gets a chance to speak, a lot of the times can be very negative. And we live in this world where we think that it's normal to feel miserable, which we've already covered a lot already on this episode. But you just don't know what words can do. Like the things that you say, like you sharing this story. And by the way, if you guys are listening to this podcast, definitely go and follow Adam and let him know how much listening to this episode has meant to you so far. Let him know the impact that it's made on you today. Because I think that is also a gift, being able to show gratitude to someone. Because I don't think we're doing it enough.
Man, I appreciate that, brother.
For sure, brother. So let's keep this freaking train rolling, right? So I don't mean to take away from what we were talking about right now, because it deserves its time, right? But what happened after this? What did you do with that freaking fire and that pain and that agony? What did you turn it into? And what chapter of your life are we on now, my friend? Like, what do we do after all this happened, right?
So the chapter in my life is living every day, making it fucking count. Like, if I'm gonna die tomorrow, live every fucking day to the best standard that I can. I may fuck up today. I may not execute exactly what my intention was, but tomorrow I'm sure I was gonna give it a red hot crack. And being also aware of where I fell short the day before, keep an inventory, progressing every single fucking day, having goals.
Yeah.
Having goals, like write them down. Like I have a spreadsheet on my computer of everything, goals, financials, budgets, like everything. I fucking map it out.
Yeah.
And I'm getting better at pinpointing everything. Having goals is important.
What about going back? And I definitely want to hear more about this, right? But let's talk about, because you did an ultra, right?
Yeah, true. So it was actually
tell us about that, man.
Fucking let's go. Yeah. So
Yeah.
most people, when you say you're gonna fucking do an ultra marathon, they're like, now why the fuck would you want to do that? Why would you pay good money to run through the day and night? And that's where I was in my journey, where Zero2Animal was just, I was shooting further. I was, exploring harder things in my life. And so I actually inherited an ultra marathon ticket probably about 8 weeks prior. I'd been training, everything like that. And I'm like, fucking let's go. Ultra marathon in the Blue Mountains. A lot of elevation. Like we're talking, I'll convert everything to feet because it's easier. 12,000 feet, man. It's like, 4,600 meters in Aussie terms, 12,000 feet elevation for you guys, and 100 kilometers. So that's about 62 miles for you guys. And got to remember that 9 months prior, I couldn't run a mile. I was 220 pounds, and I didn't even train properly for it, probably 8 weeks prior. And I inherited the ultra ticket, and I'm like, fucking bang, declared it online. I'm fucking going to do this. Not only did I declare I was going to do it, I actually worked out, like, got a printout of the course. I've done, it was in the Blue Mountains here in Sydney. Well, it's out of Sydney. The terrain is unforgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So I done one run prior to the ultra, and I actually got my data, went through the checkpoints, mapped everything out, and I said, I'm going to do this thing in fucking 18 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And of the evening before the ultra, everything that you could think of went wrong. I thought I'd lost my fucking phone. Just nothing went to plan. I didn't fucking sleep all night, man. I was like,
Because you
my
have to
mind
have
was
a phone,
racing.
right, for tracking.
Exactly. So you have to have all this safety gear. But one of the things that you must have on you is a phone. And not only that, when you finish the ultra marathon, they check to see if it's actually the battery's on. Like if your battery doesn't hold capacity, you need to carry a backup battery. So, so I was freaking out. I'm like, I don't have a phone. Anyway, I found it after losing my mind. I didn't sleep all night, just thinking, fuck, what if something goes wrong? What if I break my leg? Whatever. I was just, all these feelings, thoughts, and emotions came, but none of that mattered. As soon as you cross that start line, the weight of the world actually fucking lifts. You've got a mission. I set an intention of 18 hours, and I actually went for it. You might start the race with 1,500 people, 2,000 people, but this is you against you. Like you're running it alone through the night, through the day. This is you against you, and you know,
it's the ultimate battle.
The ultimate battle. And when the nightfall hits and you're running, when you're in the cold, you're in the dark, that's when the demons come and knocking on the door, and that's what you have to fight. That's
how many people started?
About 2,000 people that year that I ran.
How many people finished?
Probably about 150 did not finish. So yeah, we're talking probably about 1,850. Don't quote me on that. That's just an approximation. Yeah. But there's a lot of people. Sure. There's a lot of people that when it gets hard, they pull the pin. Some people veer off course.
What does pulling the pin look like? Like, what do you do to quit?
That is giving up. That is like an ache and pain. That is like, I can't do it. That is when the weakness comes in, that, you know, for whatever reason that is, you know, because you're going to get niggles. You're going to get aches and pains. You're going to experience feelings that you haven't encountered or you didn't anticipate. Like, you can't actually train for something like this. Like, my furthest run was about 35 kilometers. So I didn't actually know how my body would handle it. However, after the halfway point, I was actually running faster.
Yeah.
Then I run all course. For 20 kilometers straight, I was zooming past, and I didn't actually. A lot of people they bring the hiking poles.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, because they take a lot of pressure off the knees and, you know, make it easier. I had my pack. That was it. And I was actually flying past all these people with the hiking poles.
And you executed.
And I fucking executed nothing.
Yeah.
was going to stop me. And the further I got, I had this euphoric feeling like nothing was going to stop me. One of my head torches in the night, one of the batteries went flat. I put
Your
it on a
headlamp?
headlamp. So
Head torch. Okay. I
yeah,
know what a torch is, but I think it's like we use that a lot in the military, but a lot of people might not know what it is. So one of your lights went dead in the night.
yeah, and I did have a backup, but I don't know. I should have actually taken that 2 minutes to swap over, but I didn't. I was focused. And anyway, my head torch went into emergency mode. It still gave me light, just not enough. And the last quarter of the race is actually the hardest. Purposely, it's designed to actually want to make you fucking give up. It's the hardest part. You going up stairs, and then you hit the road, and then you think, thank fuck, I'm in the road now. It's going to get easier. And then it throws you back down into the mountains. And then it fucking takes you back up. And then you think, thank God. And then it throws you back down, throws you back up. And then one down for one last time, just to really push you.
Yeah. I think that just to give you some feedback on that, well, not necessarily feedback, but just my thoughts, right? Is that sometimes sometimes I think that letting your light die or pushing yourself harder when it's the hardest part of it, I think that has something to do with just performing without thinking, right? Like just executing.
Yeah.
Because I think maybe if you would have stopped and taken those 2 minutes to change out the light, or if you would have tried to pace yourself, or if you would have tried to take it easier on the end because you're almost done, like that might have been the thing that did you in, right? Because then the mental starts to fucking creep in, and we give ourselves all these excuses and all these reasons of doubt. And if you don't stop to think, if you don't give space to that fucking voice, like the voice doesn't matter. That because there's two voices, I think, right? There's the voice of reason, which in your mind will always try and find a reason of why, like I should slow down, or maybe I can't finish this, or even in your planning stages, when you were talking about that you only had a certain amount of time to plan, like there's that voice of reason, which everyone thinks that the voice of reason you have to listen to, but that voice of reason is going to give you what you believe you can or can't do. So you can change that voice of reason based on how much fucking confidence you have built up in yourself based on all the experiences that you've had. And I'm sure that the voice of reason has shifted for you because you've done an ultra, you've done 75 hard twice, you've done a lot of stuff. So that voice of reason doesn't necessarily tell you, hey, Adam, slow down, or hey, Adam, this. No, the voice of reason is like, Adam, you've done something this hard before. You can do this. So like you can shift that voice of reason. You can make that voice of reason sound a lot more delusional than you think, which isn't a bad thing because it's only delusional if you don't believe it, right? But having that optimistic delusion, I think, is very valuable. So there's the voice of reason, right? And then there's the voice of what you want it to be, voice of incredible belief, voice of whatever. I can't think of a freaking name for it right now, but there's that other voice in your head, the alter ego, the thing that says, you screw that voice of reason. I can do this. I can push through it. And you were able to freaking do it, man. That's amazing. So what did it feel like when you were done with it?
Man, when I crossed that finish line, I was almost in tears.
Yeah.
They put it on YouTube, like all the finishes, and you could see the emotion come out. I knew I was going to execute it, and nothing was going to stop me. And they ring some cowbells probably 100 meters before the end, and I actually sprinted after running for. I actually finished it in 17 hours and 12 minutes. So, and all my data, like, because I had a standard Apple Watch at the time, I think you got about 13 hours of tracking, and then before the battery goes dead. So I was actually just running on feeling. Yeah, I was listening to my body, and I actually beat my intention of 18 hours by
Did you have
almost
headphones on?
I did actually take headphones with me, and I used them for maybe half an hour. But then I noticed my battery of my phone, because I didn't have an external device. I had my phone
Yeah.
with my music and playlist, and I thought to myself,
Oh man.
that's what I'm gonna use during the night to get me through. I actually done all this except for one
This
little
is an
half an
important
hour
part.
stint. Man, I
This is an
actually
important part
done
of the
it.
story.
Man, 100%. I actually done it without the aid of anything, because it's much easier if you've got some kick-ass music. You're nightfall. You're in the bush. You actually hear all these fucking noises that spook the fuck out of you, that shake you, that rock you, and again, they're the things that you can block out, and if you don't block out, can easily make you pull the pin, bail,
So when
and
people go to the gym and they have their playlist and then their headphones die or whatever, like how do they push through it? They have a hard time, right? I did a
yeah,
marathon last year and my headphones died about halfway through, and I was pissed off about it. But
yeah,
I still found, because there's internal and external motivation, right? But like I still found that internal motivation of like why this is not going to slow me down. Right.
yeah,
I definitely felt it more, but you know what? There's nothing wrong with feeling it more. You know, pain lets you know you're alive. I don't think that pain is a bad thing. I think that it tells you what you need to work on and what's hurting and what's alive and what's working. And like people avoid pain because they think that it's permanent injury, and it's not, right? People go to the
no,
gym and the moment they start to feel something, oh my shoulders, like what do you think is going to strengthen your shoulder? You completely avoiding any shoulder
yeah,
workouts because you think that you're going to like permanently injure yourself, or actually doing band workouts or doing cable workouts, or using dumbbells to stabilize the shoulder to make the shoulder stronger. And that's the same mentality. Like this is a very, very important part of the story, because a lot of people,
yeah,
like they would, like you made a decision because you saw that you had your music, you had your playlist, this was going to help you get through. And at some point, you said it was only half an hour in, right? You realized that it was draining your battery in your phone,
yeah,
and you
and
made the decision to say, I'm not going to use this because it's going to drain my battery. And then you like, that's hard, man. A lot of people might have been like, well, I need the music, right?
yeah, like, and
Damn.
prior to that, all my long runs were done with music, but this
Yeah.
again formed something for me now, that I actually don't use music for anything. Like
Really?
I
You're just crazy.
from that point on, I don't use external motivation. It's just like, and I had to make a decision that night that I could drain my battery. Probably would have
Hmm.
helped me. Probably would have helped me run a little bit faster, which I did.
But
Like,
if
it's
the
not.
phone would have died.
Exactly. And then you're out in the middle of the bush. Like, I'm talking hundreds, or not hundreds,
Yeah.
maybe about 25 kilometers in the deep. So,
Yeah.
should something happen, you are going to need to make contact.
Yeah.
So I
Damn.
made a clear decision that I'm doing this without. Let's go.
Yeah. I want to shift gears a little bit, and I want to talk about, you went to, we'll call it a men's retreat, and then I'll let you clarify a little bit more, right? But based off the knowledge that I know, and I've seen you posting about it, I want to know more about that. Whatever you care to share, and let's talk about that for a little bit. So tell us about that experience. Tell us all about it, if you don't mind.
So again, this was it was a military immersion. So I'm not going to compare it to David Goggins' Hell Week. It was a shorter. It was 4 days,
Hmm.
but the same concept. A lot of hard challenges, and this was the next part of me on my personal growth journey. This was actually, when you break it down, although it was physical, it had nothing to do with the physical side. This was mental warfare.
Hmm.
And I might tell you that I paid damn good money to do this. This wasn't volunteer. So yeah, it was October last year. Flew up to far north Queensland.
Before we dive into this, 1 second. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't know if you've seen this online, where a lot of people are ridiculing or making fun of people who pay money to go to events like this. So Bedros Keuilian has a program. I'm gonna get the name wrong if I try and say it right now, but basically, a group of men pay a lot of money to go there to go through grueling experiences. And the reason I'm presenting this to you right now is because my mind is not made up on it. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people who don't really know how to feel about it. But what is being put on social media right now is very much negative towards experiences like this. What I'm going to ask you to do is put yourself out there and tell us as much as you want to share, but also explain why this is as valuable as it was for you, and why you believe that this is actually something that people should do, or the right type of people, right? So I'm putting you on the spot.
Man,
I'm counting on you to change the mind of a lot of people here, but I would really love to hear why you believe that this was actually very beneficial, and it can be very beneficial for a lot of people. Maybe not everybody, but definitely talk about that. Go ahead, all
right. I will do my best in the execution. So most people have so much shit holding them back, self-belief, and this was about leveling up to the next step. And people's concept on spending money and value on coaching and mentorship,
Mm-hmm.
Those sort of people that they will spend like if you tally it up through the year, they'll spend tens of thousands of dollars on fast food, on shit, on alcohol, on cigarettes, on gambling. They're the type of people that project their negativity on actually the value of mentorship, retreats, anything like personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
What you get, like for me, what I got out of it was more self-belief in myself, like crawling around for days, leopard crawling, doing multiple challenges in the sun, carrying people on stretchers. And there was all these tasks or missions that we done.
Mm-hmm.
There was a start. We didn't know when we were going to finish. We didn't know when we were going to eat. We didn't know when we were going to sleep. You just got told. And all this strength builds up, all this character, like, because you're like, I've been crawling around for days. I actually had my knees and elbows ripped to shreds, leopard crawling. And then we got told to stop. We sat, gathered in a circle. We talked about how we're feeling and that. And then after that, it was like going leopard crawl now on the asphalt, on the concrete.
What are you calling it? Leopard crawl?
Leopard crawl. So
like on all fours?
Yeah, on all fours, man.
Okay.
We're doing challenges like that. Like when we arrived to the military immersion, we were all early. There was guys with masks there just showing their eyes, screaming at us, to get in line, you're fucking late. Like, it was brutal. And we're all shitting ourselves. And then we had to do the bip test in a hall, in a hot hall. We had to take all our clothes off. We were confronted, and the reason behind taking all your clothes off except for your underwear is just really showing the real you, like not hiding behind anything. And then we got our camo gear and stood in a line. And the next thing we got cloaked. Basically, it was a black pillowcase over the head,
Damn.
taped around. We got marched onto a bus. And while we're on the bus, it was maybe a 15-minute ride. There was this music getting waved around. It was thought-provoking music. There was little girls crying for daddy. It was actually designed to freak you the fuck out, get fucking scared. You know, we were cloaked. Like, people were struggling breathing, but then you bring it back to survival. And then really the mission started. That was like, you know, it hadn't really started till then. That was the pre-immersion. So then we're running along the beach where, you know, we're running with ropes. We started to form like sections. So we had like section A, B, C. Then the Brotherhood formed. And, you know, then we were like carrying each other with stretchers for like kilometers with no end line in the water, waist deep. Just a lot of mental, physical training. And towards the end,
What do
it
you
wasn't
think what do you think it does for you? Like during during the suffering, like, could you see that during the process you were evolving as you were doing it? Or is it more of like towards the end you feel just this grandiose feeling of confidence? Like,
man,
I definitely want to hear more about that, but like, I'm just curious, like, what are you feeling as you're going through it?
Man, as it like again, everything is forming. There was actually hidden messages in the whole process. It was like, for me now, going through all these challenges, going 24, 48 hours with actual food, not knowing we were going to sleep. It was like, now when all these simple, small tasks in life, you get, you know, the ones that you need to do, or the ones that you must do but you don't do. Now when I think back to all that, it makes all the necessary small stuff a piece of piss. Like, honestly,
Puts everything into perspective.
put it into perspective as like, well, hold up. I was able to achieve all this, and it was hard. It was painful. It was, but you fight through. Like, when your legs, elbows are absolutely shredded, weeping, and that wasn't even the hardest part. It was like, then you get told to hit the pavement for another, we didn't know how long, hour, 2 hours, and then you find a way. You actually teaches you you actually find a way. You know,
So it's not meant to make you quit. It's meant to make you push yourself past the limits that you thought you had.
Exactly, and find a different way. If you get blocked from the left, go right. If you can't get over it, go under it. Like, find a way. And this was a key component, because I actually rolled onto my back and I was propelling myself on my back, scraping my back, and then maybe turning my shoulders from side to side to take some of the pressure off, and I found a way.
I love that, man. Wow. So we've talked about a lot of stuff. I want to know, when you came out of this, I'm assuming, because that's I'm putting myself in your shoes. I'm trying to imagine myself there, right? But I'm assuming when you come out of it, you just have this newfound confidence that is built up like you've never had before.
Yeah.
And did you take action on that? Like what happened afterwards, right?
So yeah, afterwards, you're absolutely right about that. You found confidence, but it's a gift and a curse because you also adopt a less tolerance for people's bullshit. When so you have to bring that down, because when I hear people's excuses and bullshit, my tolerance level is pretty much close to zero on that. Just speaking the truth, like I have,
you should,
but yeah, so pretty much immediately after that, actually, part of the process prior to going into that was I actually went through a job, a 9 to 5, and doubled my self-worth. In between, because I paid for the immersion about 3 months prior, but there was actually lessons and processes leading up to it. So there was actually 3 months of self-growth, unintentional. It just the way it happens. The immersion was the grand finale. And
so you're preparing for it as you're
well, yeah, you're preparing, you're doing the training, but unintentionally, all these, like, you're growing as a human. There were, like, I was stuck in a job that I just wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't getting paid where I felt that I should. So in between that timeline, I actually went for a job and doubled my self-worth. I actually am in a job where I get paid my self-worth. I value my self-worth. So that was another lesson in life. Although a 9 to 5 is not at all my end goal, this was a fundamental step in my fundamental step. It's where I needed to be at this particular time while I'm working on Zero2Animal and then get into a program, my own unique program, where I can help others. So it was a fundamental. So yeah, that's when I came out. I sort of just jumped into that role, and that's where I was at life.
Now, where can people? Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for sharing all that with us, Adam. Honestly, dude, it's been absolutely an amazing hour with you. I wish we could go for longer, but I also want to make sure people take all this in. I definitely want to have you back on again. And I definitely want to talk way more about what's next and what's happening with you, right? We want to get updates on everything. But so Zero2Animal, how can people get involved with that? Where can they find you? Like, what are you working on right now? Just give us, like, I don't know. So we call it a sit rep in the military, in the U.S. military, and probably in other militaries too. But it's a situation report, right? So when I ask my employees for a sit rep, it's what is the current situation? What's happening? What is going on right now? So what's your sit rep with Zero2Animal? What's going on with you? What can we expect to see more, and how can people become involved with it?
So I'm actually working with a mentor right now, and that's an important key component, is working with a mentor that actually can offer or has what you want, what you need. And that's the hardest thing to find. So I'm actually working on the Zero2Animal program. People can find me on Instagram. My handle is Zero2Animal. 2 for 2. They can find me on Facebook at Adam Royle, Royle. And there'll be more posted on actual, when Zero2Animal is up and running, I will have a fully functional website. Zero2Animal.
Hell yeah, man. So for everybody listening, be on the lookout for Adam. He's doing amazing things. We're gonna wrap up today, man, just because I feel like this is a good place to stop. But the last thing I want to ask of you, and I want to ask you to pour everything that you can into this, right? What would be, I wouldn't say advice, because when everyone thinks of advice, they think of like words of encouragement, right? But what would be the number one message that you would love to put out into the world that you think people, young men, whoever, they need to hear this and they need to really not just like listen to it, but believe it so they can start making the changes that they want in their lives, right? What would be that one message from you, my man? The floor is yours.
Don't be scared to fucking tell your truth. Tell a brother that you love them. Don't be fucking scared to cry. All these things actually, that's what a real man is. When you can be vulnerable, when you can be in a room full of men working through your trauma, working on your shit, and you can embrace with another man, look them directly in the eye and say, I fucking love you.
I love you, man.
Man, I love you, brother.
I love you too, brother.
Oof. Can I just say, once again, thank you for inviting me on your podcast. I hope that I brought your audience value.
Oh, you definitely did.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you definitely did, man. It was a pleasure. I want to have you back on. It's been a pleasure, man. It's been an awesome hour with you. I just want to say thank you. And everybody listening, thank you for your time. Do me a favor, go and find Adam on socials. Show him the love and support that, he definitely has earned from you guys just taking a listen. And thank you guys for spending time with us here today. We're going to wrap up. So again, hope you got some value from today. And thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me on.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of the Vet Rise podcast. If today's episode inspired you, made you think, or simply gave you hope, I have a small favor to ask. Share it with just one veteran or someone you think could benefit from my message. Your share could light a spark for them. You don't know who you might save. For more insights and to join our mission, follow my socials at JP the Veteran Coach and explore how we can rise together. Thank you for joining us, for being part of this journey, and for believing in the power of rising together. Until next time, keep pushing forward, keep rising, and never forget that we are stronger together. My name is Juan Perez, and thank you for your time.